you are live.
Hello and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Brent and I'm with my new very good friend, this big Ellie bull who's been spending a lot of time around here. He's just been chasing zebra and wildebeest for fun. I've got Brian there in camera, and Andrew and Francis and James Henry are going to be on walk this afternoon, and we have Lou and Tara in final control. I'm really loving having this big Ellie bull around. He is a constant source of joy for me. I love big boy. Definitely the king of quarantine at the moment. I think he's going to make his way down to the waterhole shortly. He's doing what he did, a very similar route to what he took a few safaris ago. Stopping and feeding on the way. And there's a whole host of other game around at the moment, as well as my favorite. I mean, you can just see under his head there there's a zebra. Oh, he's just moved his head there. There's some buffalo bulls to the left, and a large herd of wildebeest is about to pass across our bow. Lots and lots of general game, and I wonder where those lions have gone. Excuse me, I was going to be on the radio with Taxon quickly. Afternoon Tax, there's some Duggar boys and one Maduro and Love are near the waterhole in front of Tella. And what was the last position of the Nkuhumas this morning? Or you think he might chase some wildebeest for fun? Copy, thanks. He might chase those wildebeest for fun. Looks like he's seeing those wildies off. So we are live in the African bushveld. You're joining us from wherever you might be in the world. It's such an incredible thing to be able to share the African wilderness with you. You can ask us questions about what we're seeing. You can do that by sending us an email, questions@wildearth.tv. Or you can use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. There's a zebra he saw off a little bit earlier, and the rest of this wildebeest herd, and he's just poking his head through the bush. Oh, wildebeest! They're having a 35 minutes. They do that quite often. They're often known as the jokers of the bushveld, because when they do get going, and sometimes this type of behavior precedes a large thunderstorm. And he's popping his head just through the bush next to us. There you can see his left tusk, which is the one he predominantly uses. Those who were watching a few days ago watched him drop to his knee and pull out the log Jim Reeves had put to stop the eddies from pulling out the water pipe. Look at that, he's reaching right, just come out a bit wider there, Brian. Look how far into the center of that bush he's reaching to grab those nice new fresh shoots. It's just so special to be able to spend time with an animal this big and have him so completely relaxed in our presence. I could easily spend the whole safari just watching him. So he's coming a bit, looks like he might come a bit closer to the vehicle now. Hello, big boy. You can see, there we go, he's right next to us. He's less than 5 feet from the front of the vehicle. There we go. Nice close up of his toes, and you can actually see those toenails there. Well, at least he's not dozing today. A few sunset safaris ago, he actually fell asleep when we were right next to him. Now there's big ears full of blood. About 8 liters of blood at any one time in a big elephant bull's ears. That's just under 2 gallons of blood. He's giving us the rear end, and you can see he's very relaxed from his body language, letting us that close. Elephants' tails quite often become erect and stick out when they're not relaxed. Around a bit. Bunch of buffalo bulls here on the left. I'm sure those who watch the Djuma dam cam will have seen them lounging around the waterhole during the day. Hello, old man. I wonder if they're aware that the lions are not too far away, or were not too far away. On the sunrise safari, very briefly, we did manage to see them. And in case you guys are wondering which vehicle is up and running, it is the Wendy. And we managed to get a replacement steering arm from Hoedspruit brought in this morning. And good teamwork. I took off the broken one last night and James put in the new one this afternoon. I wonder what's around the termite mound. So while we hang around with this Eddie bull, see if he heads down to the water and then carry on to look for the lions. Oh, there he is, around the termite mound. We're going to go see what Commander Bond's up to on bushwalk.
Go live. Hello everybody, I'm standing here as you can see on a marula tree, recently deceased, and I think Brent has done a thorough exploration of the area and its surrounds. But we're out here on bushwalk testing a few things. You know that we possibly had a few problems this morning. These mercifully seem to have been sorted out, mainly by the application of some tin foil to the aerial. A simple fix, one normally reserved for those who are afraid of aliens coming to fry our brains, but in this case seems to have fixed the signal problems. So we'll hold our thumbs and cross our toes and hope things remain the same. My name is James, if you happen to have turned on for the first time, and you're most welcome, of course. On camera is Andrew. He is, well, he's decked up a little bit like a robot. He looks a little bit like RoboCop. He looks a little bit like RoboCop. Let's quickly go down to Brent. Elephant's moving towards the water. We'll see you now.
You get sidetracked by now. Smelled something in the grass? I'm going to preempt his movement and get to that water before him. He might chase the buffalo away from the water. Brian.
I've got it.
Yellow-billed oxpecker. 2. Now those are quite rare. We will have a look at the oxpeckers again shortly, but the Eddie's about to drink. But there's that. That's a really good one for the birders out there. Yellow-billed oxpecker, quite rare in this part of the world. Straight to the pipe, he managed to unearth. Oh, his timing is bad. The pan is not being pumped again. Let's see if he decides to try and remove more of the pipe from the ground. I see he's putting his trunk right over that and getting whatever water he can out of the pipe. Listen to that, he sucked all the water from way down in the pipe out. He's still not happy with it. Frustration with no fresh water coming out. Now he's mostly sucking up air. More bit of playing, might spray that water behind the ears for a bit of cooling or on the rest of the body. Oh, there's mud in it as well. Yeah, having a little mud life. And it's mixing the water and the soil there. Oh, we might be in the firing line here, Brian. Oh, he's got a good bounce of mud now. There we go. Yep. No. Thanks, mate, go for it. I'm very happy here with this Ellie, and then I'll go look for Nkuhumas. He's a fussy old boy. Oh, it looks like he actually might drink this time. Here we go. He has emptied any little bit of water that was in that pipe from the pumping this morning, or he's going to try empty some more. Not happy with that water. That's drinkable, not this muddy stuff that everyone else has to drink. Almost looks like he's deciding, oh, should I do it? Sounds like he's mostly got air, but I think he's got a bit of water in there. Yeah, a mouthful at least. I suppose an elephant mouthful's probably over a litre. Seems like he's contemplating. Or is he about to have a snooze? Yep. One more, couple more. Oh, it's amazing long he can actually suck for. What I'm going to do is the next time he does that, I'm going to ask Final Control to increase the volume so you can actually hear how incredibly loud the sucking on that pipe is. Well, I don't think he's going to move off too far. We can come back to him, but just quickly, in case we do lose, it's itchy eye. We'll see you just now, big boy. But in case those buffalo do keep moving off, let's go see if we can catch up with that yellow-billed oxpecker. And that is a bird that's not seen too often in these parts. So we see the red bulls regularly, but not the yellow bulls. Now we're going to play which buffalo was the oxpecker on. There were 2 yellow-billed oxpeckers on that one buffalo. And every time we would drive up to Buffalo, especially Idaho when Brian's with me, we're always checking every oxpecker to see if we can find a yellow bull. Hopefully they haven't disappeared. So yellow bulls, unlike red bulls, quite often hide over behind the back of the buffalo and look over it, sort of back at you. Do that one there. They could have hopped buffaloes as well. Always makes them finding them a little bit more difficult. Those are red bulls on that one. There we go. On that guy there. So we're going to stop a little distance off. So you guys get a clear shot of them. Go, yellow-billed oxpeckers. Not something you see every day, that's for certain. I think this is only the 3rd time I've seen them on Djuma in 9 months. Let's try to get a bit closer. It's all happening here in front of WildEarth. There's 2 of them there. They are slightly bigger than the red-billed oxpeckers as well. But there we go, a really nice one for those keeping bird lists. That's something not everyone might have on their bird list. Off goes changing buffaloes. So I think we're going to go see if we can find the Nkuhuma lions, and while we do that, we're going to see what James is up to on foot.
Hello. Look at these marvelous little tortoises here that we have. Leopard tortoises. You can only see one at the moment. That's the little one, and there's a huge one that is climbing underneath Andrew's leg as we speak. They're being extremely confiding. They're not hiding in their shells, which is the most wonderful thing. They're just kind of walking along. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? This is so special. We sat down quite a long way away from them, hoping that they would sort of just let us film them, and they've come and climbed. This one is climbing right under Andrew. It's now taken fright at the camera. There its head is. And I think what this is a female in front, a big one, and a male behind, possibly looking to, well, perhaps a bit of a Mrs. Robinson situation here. Younger male and the female walking off in front of him. That is just amazing. Andrew, perhaps not the best shot of your inner thigh. This is a family show after all. Beautiful little tortoise here, and in the most incredible detail you can see the coloration and why they're called leopard tortoises. Now what we're going to do is basically, Brent Leo Smith very cleverly the other day stuck the microphone next to a dung beetle digging. Give you an idea of what this little tortoise sounds like when he moves, if he moves again. Come on, move now. Look at him, isn't he wonderful? And his little eyes blinking. And his consort is heading off into some fairly thick bush. He looks like he might take a step forward now. And these guys are they're totally vegetarian. They'll eat fresh grass if they can find it. And you can see he's got a little bit of his high tea still sticking out of his beaky little mouth. His beaky little mouth. There you can hear him moving in the dry grass. Isn't he great? I'm just going to count his toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like he's got 6, but I think the 6th is actually a scale. Let me put my microphone back because I don't know that the tortoise is being particularly compact. Excuse the noise. It's coming up my shirt. There we go. Now, the tortoise's main defense, of course, is to disappear into his shell. So if he feels at all threatened, he'll fold up his neck, and you saw that with the female there. Fold up his neck and fold up his legs and go into the shell. And Donna, you want to know if he would also maybe perhaps bite as a form of defense. Donna, no, they don't really bite. I think if you tried to grab its head, it might give you a bit of a kind of a puck. But no, they don't bite as a form of defense unless they are truly, truly threatened. They are almost impossible to get out of the shell unless you have a specialized beak like that of the ground hornbill. And what they do is just crack the top of the shell and break it. They're the only birds that are able to do that. Wonderful little fellow. I think he's a little confused about all of this media attention that he's receiving. Isn't he great? Very peaceful to sit with the tortoise. They definitely, I think, have the right idea of the pace of life. So the other thing, Donna, if you pick them up, and that will render them fairly vulnerable to dehydration. So they'll basically get rid of all the water that's in them, and while they're doing that, if they're not near water, they can kind of become dehydrated. Now, Andrew, let's leave this chap quickly, and let's go and look and have a quick look at the female, who has now hidden herself in this bush here. And I think that this is why you want to hold my hand, or you want me to help you up? Oh, there we go. I think this is why we don't see them that often, of course. Look how amazingly hidden she is. She's crawled in here, and I mean, for tortoise to have, I think that this tortoise is probably, I'd say at least 20 years old, which is pretty impressive, I think. 20 years old out here, possibly even older. They are potentially getting much bigger than this one is. We saw one at Arathusa Dam the other day that was quite a lot bigger, but around the Eastern Cape they get absolutely enormous, probably about double the size of this female here. Wonderful. One of 2 species of tortoise that we get here. You do apparently get 3 in the Kruger National Park. Right, from an animal that is very slow, potentially much off to Brent.
As we came in here, we watched all the lionesses get up and start moving through, and there was a male Inyala that nearly stumbled into them. I can't see where he went. Can you see him still, Brian? Oh, they got up and suddenly started stalking very quickly, almost jogging towards that Inyala. Oh, but it looks like it's back to flat cats. The Nkuhuma pride are no more than 100 meters from that ellie. Those buffalo, the wildebeest, the zebra all around here. lions. Some of them are quite well fed, others not as well as others, so as some. So it must have been not the biggest kill that they made last night. Hello, kitty cats. Well, we haven't moved more than 400 meters from our camp, and we've seen lion, buffalo, and elephant. Isn't that incredible? Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a Levalance cuckoo. And they have arrived, I think, in the last 3 days. We've started hearing them and seeing them, making lots of noise. I'll see if we can get a view of one just now, once these lions have settled down. That lioness with her head up in front of the steering wheel, that one there, that's Amber Eyes. Now we have a pile of lions. It's a young sub-adult. And flop. Okay, let's just position a bit so you get the steering wheel out of shot. Hello, ladies. So it's quite exciting that they are so close to quarantine, and there is so much other wildlife around. So maybe if we're lucky they'll hunt this evening. And I've spent lots of time waiting for these ladies to hunt over the last 9 months. But I don't think it's going to be for the next while. Update the game drivers quickly. Nkuhumas still lying up in the same position. It's actually not that hot today, it's more humid than hot. There's the little sub-adult female. Quite sure they can see those buffalo out in the clearings. I think they're just a little bit too far. Oof. And that little green bush to the left of that lioness's head is one we've been seeing. Quite a few of them have those wonderfully bright red flowers at the moment. It's a dwarf boerbean. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just move forward a little bit. The lions sometimes lie in the most peculiar positions. Oh, Murphy's Law. There you go. I mean, a head scratch. So welcome to Matty, who's a new viewer from the Netherlands. Aangename kennis, Matty. Matty's wondering why the lions haven't eaten Brian and myself yet. Well, Matty, these lions have grown up with safari vehicles. Also, a vehicle does not smell or sound like anything that should be quite tasty. It smells like petrol and oil and all sorts of other things. Firstly, the thing that would spark lions to become aggressive towards us at this range and from a vehicle is if we harass them extensively, or if we sort of stood up, then they would see the bipedal figure of man, and man is the dominant diurnal predator, so lions actually are scared of us during the day, and 99%, isn't that cute? 99% of the time when we walk into lions during the day, they run away from us. At night is a different story. At night, lion is the dominant predator. Lions, during most days, do exactly what we're looking at now. They sleep. They sleep for an average about 20 hours a day, Matty. And they will only really get active unless, like an Inyala nearly ran into them, unless something sort of happens upon them. They will be pretty much stationary till it gets much cooler, and probably only once it's dark. Tired kitties. So lions are unable to sweat, and if their core body temperature raises too much, they will die. So that is why they rest during the day. They have quite a difficulty cooling down, and you can see the heavy breathing is one of their forms of cooling down. When they're very hot, they'll pant with an open mouth like a dog. There's lots of blood vessels and capillaries in the lion's mouth and on their tongue, and drawing air quickly over that should cool it. Oh, you can even hear them sighing, they're so lazy. It's amazing. If those lions had just kept lying down, that Inyala probably would have stepped on them. And he got a lucky escape. An orange-breasted bushrat calling in the background. And I can hear some jumping beans as well, popping around in the Timbuti just behind the lions, and at that tree over there. Brian's going to show you shortly. That tree right next to the lioness there, the one that her paw's not on is a Timbuti tree, and that's where it sounds like the jumping beans are coming from. Not quite like that explosion of jumping beans Brian and I found on the bushwalk a couple of sunset safaris ago. But just every now and then I hear one. I think those trees were absolutely inundated with those moths. These, not all the seeds by the sounds of things, just hear pop every now and then. And there's another few Timbutis. I wonder if it's going to rain this evening. The sky is quite ominous around us. You can see it's very humid this afternoon. You can hear green pigeons calling as well. That's the wonderful thing about being around drainage lines. There's so much bird life around here. There's that little orange-breasted bushwhack again. Oh, and there's a little laughing dove calling on the ground. I don't know if you can see it from where you are, bro. Just behind the timbuti to the left. Change direction. Was heading towards that area between the trees. I think these lions are not going to move much. So I think maybe let's go see what the Ellie's up to, and then we'll pop back there just now to see if there's any more movement. But I think it's unlikely for another hour or so. Very lazy kitty cat. Not even a raised head as we leave. What a busy start to the sunset safari. Lions, elephants, wildebeest, zebra, buffalo. And I almost forgot already that we actually saw quite a rare bird today, the yellow-billed oxpecker. And Donna from Maine is wondering why they're so scarce. Well, Donna, if you go further north in Africa, yellow bills are more common than red bills, but all oxpeckers took quite a heavy beating during the early sort of start of agriculture in Africa, with insecticides and that, so they'd feed off ticks and other parasites that had been poisoned, and their numbers dropped. And there's been quite a few programs, and they've been reintroduced into a lot of areas, and also their populations are coming back, and people are now using oxpecker-friendly insecticide. Well, look, he hasn't moved an inch, still standing very stoically over his water pipe. And there's an Inyala here I'm going to keep an eye on. That carries on moving towards the lions. So we'll just park so we can watch the Ellie and watch that Inyala. Hello, big boy. Focusing on that pipe. There's a little guinea fowl running off behind him. No, he didn't like that last bit of water. Maybe a bit muddy for his taste. Look at that, we can see right into his mouth. Hey, big boy. Look at this, isn't this incredible? Hey, where are you off to now? Gonna go chase the guinea fowls? to reach for those marulas, but I love it when eddies do this. Sometimes they even jump up onto their back legs to get to those top branches. I was wondering what that click is. That's just my camera. Sorry, it's going to be on the game drive for a second. Last night we had my daughter Ingrid calling between Gallagher Shortcut and Aubrey. I wasn't on drive in Aubrey's Road. I wasn't on drive this morning. Hey, copy. Thanks very much, Hobbs. I'll make my way there. So I just got a report in from Aubrey, and we're going to go. I think it's worth taking a chance at this. We're going to go for the Wang Bang Safari today. We've got the lions, we've got an elephant, we've got some buffalo. Aubrey says there's some really fresh leopard tracks, and not too far. So we're going to go try and give it a go in that area for a little bit. But we'll definitely come back towards the lions at some point. I think there's some great potential for some hunting after dark, but let's go see if we can find a leopard while there's still some light. Just confirm I should check Aubrey's Road towards the 5 rack. Probably thanks very much, Bob. James. Thanks, Lavo. Okay, so excitement. Aubrey thinks these are really fresh tracks. So I'm going to drive a little bit fast to get up there. So here's the final controls behind this fence here. So I mean there's lions, buffalo and elephant all just around the area of our camp at the moment. Squirrel, we're Larry, sorry. Sorry, as I'm just listening to the updates on the radio, I'll be back with you in a second. We're heading west now. Those tracks are on the Gallagher shortcut but heading west towards Aubrey's Road. So we're going to shoot up past Gallagher shortcut. Aubrey's on the tracks there now. I'm going to try and get up ahead of the tracks to see if we can get them ahead of time, so we cut down on the time it takes to track. wonder which of these sounds like a big adult male. I know Mvula has been seen to the east of us this morning, or was it yesterday? So this could be Tingana, or who knows, maybe a new male moving in from the north. Ryan, you got a bug. Oh, got him. Quite a thing that rainy season in the low veld, you often get this cloud build up, and it's almost like it's teasing you about the rain. I think it's going to rain, it feels like it's going to rain, and it's just up to Aubrey's Road now. So check carefully, there's some really nice big animal paths here that are quite often used by leopard and lion and elephants. Well, we try to figure out what's happening with these leopard tracks. We're going to see what James is up to on foot.
Wild sage, as far as I can work out. Oh, it has the most delightful smell. Andrew? Andrew can't move. I can't give it to him, because if he moves, his aerial will either bop me on the head or we'll lose signal. So wild sage, beautiful flower. Look at that flower. And such an amazing smell, just a really delightful smell. We've come to the far east of the reserve. The first thing we did was to check if the Birmingham boys were around Twin Dams. Apparently they had been around there sometime during the course of the day. We didn't find any evidence of lions, so we came up here and found this small purple flower instead. And it is just the most wonderful smell that reminds me, and I think reminds Brent very much, of his time in Botswana. It grows, well, a similar species grows all over Botswana. And it kind of really scents the air, especially if you're walking or driving and you drive over it. It really fills the air with this delightful sagey smell. So that is the wild sage, and like I've said before, one day I'm sure they will be able to transfer smells through the internet. For the moment, however, you can go to your kitchen, pick out the dried sage from the spice rack, if you have any, crush it up in your hand and smell that, and imagine a slightly sweeter smell than the smell of your sage, and you've got basically what we have here. Marvellous. Right. Brenty, not Brenty, what's your name again? Andrew, on we go. Come with me. Ooh. I'm going to defer this question to Andrew. Andrew, you're a bit of a connoisseur of these sorts of things. Anything here that is a natural tobacco? This is a question from Mike. I don't think there is a natural tobacco that I know of out here. Certainly I have the odd friend who've tried to smoke elephant dung. I think that made them cough and splutter quite a lot. But in terms of natural tobaccos and things, I don't think so. Andrew, you don't know of any, do you?
Negative.
No. No, I don't think so, Mike. Certainly, just trying to think, there are a lot of local people, of course, around here in prehistory. And quite unlike, I think, if we think of the Native Americans and them and those sort of peace pipes that they smoked, and I'm sure there were various different substances that went into them, and there wasn't a great, the Xhosas I know down in the Eastern Cape used to smoke pipes. I don't think that there's a tradition amongst the Shangaan or Tsonga people of this area or the vendors of this area that is this kind of smoking tradition, and I think that's probably because there aren't many natural substances out here that could be substituted. There are one or two hallucinogens I think that you can get in the form of mushrooms, but again, that's more eating than smoking, I think. So, Mike, to answer your question, I don't think much in the way of natural tobacco out here. Many, of course, natural remedies that occur out here for any number of different sicknesses. And in terms of cooking, now cooking again, I'm the wrong person to ask because there are two things in life that I'm well, there are lots of things I'm bad at, but the two that I'm probably worst at are one is art. I'm definitely the worst artist in the world, and I'm the second worst cook in the world. And Judith, you want to know if you can use the wild sage for cooking. I've heard of it being used. I would say, however, that I think what you'll find is that it's a bit strong. It's got a very kind of potent, if you think of various plants that you crush and smell aromatically that are kind of slightly too strong, I think if you smelt it, it's very pleasant to smell. I'm not sure that you'd put it in your food though. And we had a question last night at the fireside chat about African cuisine and about what local cooking is like and what does it taste like. And the answer is that it's very bland, and that's because there are not a lot of plants out here that you can put in food to make it taste kind of very flavoursome as there are in many other parts of the world. And that's mainly because the soil is pretty poor. And so even if you grow tomato or lettuce out here, what you'll find is that it tastes very watery. And it doesn't have a kind of really potent tomato-y taste. The more input you put into the soil, the better tasting the fruit you'll get. Let's just have a quick look at this tree. And down on the ground here, we've got the examples of what the elephants did during the course of the winter time. Now obviously the winter is the dry season here, most of South Africa, but for the Western Cape, where they've got a Mediterranean climate there. And this was done by elephants. And you can see, first of all, that the elephants have enjoyed thoroughly this Acacia girardii tree, or the red thorn. You can see why it's called a red thorn, because it is got very red kind of tannins in the bark. Now they used the tannins of the acacia tree extensively to tan leather, and you can see this very rich, lovely color, and that was used to tan leather, as well as being very nutritious for elephants. So that's leather tanning, and a really lovely kind of earthy smell, very subtle, like so many of the smells out here, except for lion dung, of course. Very subtle, delightful smell that you can get your nose right in on. Andrew, I'll let you have a smell. Very nice. The other thing it's used for, many trees out here, but the acacia is particularly good for it, is for fiber. Now the fiber is not good enough for you to start sewing yourself a jacket of red thorn, but it is good enough for you to start making rope. And what people would do is plait these little fibers together and make a rope. There's a better tree for it, a gruvia. A gruvia or raisin tree, it will be better, and if I can find one, I'll show you how they did it. But this one, pretty good sort of fiber for rope. Right, on we go. Gorgeous afternoon, nice and cool, and this time of the year, of course, is very hot. Now, an interesting one. There is a plant out here called wild dagga, called Leonotus leonurus, and Eleanor, you have just pointed this out. Sorry, it's just a tree that looked slightly like a lion's head, and I thought Andrew was about to have his bottom bitten, but he isn't. on we go. So wild dagga, Leonotus leonurus, Eleanor. For those of you who don't know, dagga is the local Afrikaans term for marijuana, which of course is an illegal substance, and we have a wild version of it here called Leonotus leonurus, which is totally unrelated to cannabis sativa, which is the normal kind of, what should we say, street available marijuana. Now apparently you can smoke the roots. It has a very mild hallucinogenic effect. I think it would probably make you cough and splutter a lot more than it would make you think of good things. So I've read, it is called wild dagga. I'm not sure why. The leaves kind of look relatively similar, but not really, and it's certainly not an extensively used hallucinogen. Let's just go over here. I've spotted a pupa. You see the pupa, Andrew? I wonder if it's not a pupa, you know, it's a very similar shape. Can you see it all right? Now what we're going to do, I'm just going to look inside. It looks to me like it's already been evacuated, so I'm just going to, I can break it open, I hope, without fear of damaging whatever it is inside. This has either been invaded or it's been evacuated already. Look, it's an egg sac. It's got eggs in it. We'll just show you. You can look inside there. There's some red eggs. I think they're eggs. Unless, now you know what they are, maybe. I think they are eggs. There's so many hundreds and hundreds of insects of different species that we get out here. Oh dear, no, it's fine. And I think these eggs have hatched. They've all kind of broken open. There you can see the red eggs. And I think that they've all broken open and hatched. And if you look again at the pupa here, at the egg sac, I don't think it is a pupa. Andrew, go back to the egg sac if you don't mind. You can see all the little things, whatever they were. I couldn't begin to tell you what this was. Little things have drilled their way out and have headed off. They've probably done a lot of eating, it's quite interesting, on this white berry bush. And if you look around the area where they've come out of, I'm not sure that they're responsible for all of this, but this entire area is devoid of leaves, but the plant is not dead. You can see that much of it is still growing leaves. White berry bush, Flugia verosa, will make delicious tasting white berries. Well, they're pretty delicious as far as fruit out here goes. Not many fruits that are very delicious out here, the marula being the obvious exception. The sour plum is pretty nice, but there tends to be quite a lot of tannin in a lot of the fruits, and these ones, there's also tends to be very little flesh around the pips. And I imagine, if you imagine a peach, a standard issue peach, I think you'll find before they were kind of selectively bred for their flesh, like they are now, I think you'll find that they're probably very similar to some of our out here, like the marula as well. Has very little flesh on it, lots of juice, but very little flesh at all. We wait in anticipation for the advent of the berry and fruit season. The marulas should come. Marula's probably in about a month or two. Round about Christmas they will arrive. Right, just keep going up this way. Nice little 360 there, Andrew. Very nice, I think. Just have a quick look here. I'm just looking, sorry, no, there's nothing there. What this is, I'm not sure if anybody would like to hazard a guess at it, but it's quite an interesting example of a tree that is growing from the ground. Now what often happens with trees that grow from the ground is that their leaves are a lot bigger than they would be on the adult tree, especially if they're growing from seedlings. They tend to have these enormous leaves that are slightly outsized, and this is an apple leaf or rain. Sorry, excuse me there. This is an apple leaf or rain tree, and when it's much bigger, the leaves are much smaller, and it's quite a paradoxical thing. Often you see a tree, you think, oh, well, that looks quite familiar, but the leaves are too big, and it's because it's grown from seed, and they often have much bigger leaves so that they can deliver a huge load of carbohydrates from photosynthesis into the roots and just build up a bit of a stock before they're eaten, and so that they can still keep growing if they lose those first initial leaves. Let's look along here, Andrew. We've got a huge number of elephant tracks. So we've got a huge amount of elephant activity here. Now what the elephants have done here is they've come in and they've started, I don't know if you've maybe seen this, especially when we've been on drive, they come into an area like this, they start kicking with the feet, and they pick up the sand and they toss it onto themselves, onto their backs with their trunks, and then they dig a bit more and they pick it up and they toss it onto themselves. And it's the most wonderful thing to see because they create these dust clouds all around them. And if you happen to be standing that side with the sun going down behind you, it's the most wonderful thing to see these elephants and the golden dust that they create at one of these dust spots. And the dust, we think, covers their skin. It feels nice, obviously, all animals like to feel nice, and it also apparently gets rid of parasites, helps them to get rid of parasites that are on the skin. They don't tolerate oxpeckers like those two special yellow-billed oxpeckers that you saw with Brent just now. Now, Lynn, you have asked whether Andrew and I have learnt things while we've been here, since we've been here, every day. Every single day, Lynn. Every single day we find something and I think, oh, what's that? I don't know what that is. And you either tell me, or we go to the books and we find out, or we chat to each other and we come up with an idea. So absolutely, the more time you spend out here, unless you are truly, unless you really have no desire to learn more about nature, you're going to learn something new or see something that you don't know every single day. And Andrew, have you found the same thing?
I find animal behavior learning every day. New things about them. But facts out of books I'm not interested in. But animal behavior every day.
Yeah. So, I mean, because we spend extended periods with leopards, with wild dogs, with elephants, I agree with Andrew, we do learn new things about them all the time. And some of the textbook stuff that you read about, this doesn't really happen. And it's because we spend extended periods with animals on a day-by-day basis. Watching that young leopard, Sindile, for 2 weeks he was on his own without his mother, and he was in that kind of 4-acre area. We'd find him, and we'd basically spend 6 hours a day with him. And what a special thing to do. Yes, lots of the time he was lying about doing nothing, but a lot of the time he was doing some fascinating things. And incredible, everybody thought, here's a young animal that must surely starve to death because he didn't have any help from his mother. And every day we'd find him in the morning with his fat little pot belly. Clearly he was killing things, not supposed to be able to live on their own at that age, but he was doing absolutely fine. So yes, Lynn, we learn something new all the time. Let us find something else astonishingly interesting. So, Astralina, oh, look at the batalier. There's her husband just behind. Well done, Andrew. Good job. That's the batalier pair that lives around here. Oh, that's marvelous. It's so special having them fly over us like that. I'm sure they did a little detour around here just to check what we were. And then they flew back towards where their nest is. Really nice. There's quite a lot of interest in local tobaccos and smoking things and similar such things. Astralina, you want to know about snuff. Local people here use snuff. I think snuff is a generic term for any kind of herb or tobacco-like substance that you'd put in the nose and sniff up. And as far as I know, the snuff that we get here is a kind of tobacco. Again, I haven't used it myself. The thought of putting that in my nose, in fact in any part of my body, is entirely offensive to me. But some people put it in the nose. And Astralina, you want to know the local people, did they bring it? I think it's a snuff derivative. I don't think it's locally used. At least it was locally grown, the stuff that's used now. I have read stuff, interestingly, now that you mention it, of Shaka and some of the Zulu nobles using snuff and having kind of decorated snuff boxes that they used to take stuff out and sniff it in. Now I don't know what that was. I think you'll find there's a variety of different plants. Like I say, snuff is a generic term for whatever you want to put in your nose pretty much. So I'm not sure what that was made of. And yes, they did bring tobacco out, but I think tobacco is originally an American plant, a native to North America. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's native to North America, and it was brought out here, absolutely, but only obviously once probably the early 19th century. I think it was probably brought out here. Not huge farms, actually. This particular area in the Lowveld, or just above the mountains there used to be some extensive tobacco farms that aren't there anymore. Zimbabwe was an enormous producer of tobacco for many years, but no local. That's imported plant. That's not kind of locally grown. Be very interested if anybody has. Here we go. We're learning again, Lynn. If anybody knows what plant traditional snuffs used to be made of, I'd be very interested to know. Let's have a look at this dead tree and see if there is anything perhaps in it of profound interest to us. Now, one of the things, of course, that I've mentioned many times is that we have to listen out for things like oxpeckers. Now, oxpeckers are the birds, like you've been watching, those yellow-billed oxpeckers that sit on animals and eat away the ticks, but they nest in trees like this. And what's interesting is that they make a very strident call, alarm call, when you're walking. And if they see a human being or another predator, they're sitting on a nyala or a buffalo or something like that, they will call, and that's something that you have to listen out for if you're walking. This time of year, so often they're calling because they're nesting in the hole in one of these dead acacia trees. So this is an old knobthorn tree that met its end like at the tusks, and once you've looked there, come and have a look here. There's something quite interesting. Something very interesting, actually. And look what the source of it is. Thank you, Laura. Apparently I remind you of Tarzan because I'm always in trees. I'm not really sure how to take that, but thank you very much, I think. Come and have a look here, Andrew. There's a marula nut. There's a whole lot of marula nut that's been brought in here. And I think that this has been stashed here by a squirrel. Can you see it there? So squirrels do, as in the storybooks, even out here in Africa, they do keep stashes of nuts. And I think that this, before the tree fell down, there are lots of holes in this actual branch that we're on now. I think before this tree fell down, you'll find that a squirrel came along and stashed a whole lot of marula nuts in it. Now, the marula nut is a notoriously difficult thing to get out. This is the kind of shell, and it doesn't break open nicely like a walnut does. It just kind of, the nut fills that hole there, and if you want to get it out, you've either got to have the teeth of a squirrel, which is a little rope, and get the nut out, or you've got to sit and crush it with a stone, and it's remarkably hardy. I mean, it's an incredibly hard thing. You'd need a set of pliers or a really hard nut cracker. And out here, obviously where unemployment is rife, and there are a lot of ladies that sit during the day after the marula season, and they sit and they crush these nuts and make collections, and then they sell off the pulp. It's really popular. It tastes delicious, and apparently contains enormous amounts of different minerals. And I think selenium is one of the main ones, and selenium, if you have any idea, is an amazing okay, from alien heads to possibly an extraterrestrial human being, we're going to go across to Brent Leo Smith.
So we're still in this area of this leopard. We've seen those really fresh tracks there, but unfortunately they are heading towards our boundary. I'm just double checking that they haven't crossed. So you're checking all these big animal paths like this one here. We're going to give it a few more minutes. I'd really love to find a leopard today. And then have no success, we'll head back to the lions and the elephants. Quite nice to be able to say that. If we have no success with the leopard, we're going to pop across to the lions. There's an old wild dog track. That leopard might have been heading towards. I'm not seeing any. I'd still be on that block. I'm 100% sure it's the leopard that was calling so tantalizingly close but out of reach when Rusty decided to be there. And it is now tantalizingly. I think I saw that track there. Across the boundary. There he goes. There he goes, unfortunately. Let's see if I can point the track out to you now. Here's a little dark stick bug. It's a difficult track. See that little dark stick opposite me, go down, there, wait, come back out a bit, there we go. There's the leopard track crossing our boundary, unfortunately, but it was definitely worth taking a gamble, coming up the side and seeing if we could find him. So I think let's head back down towards the Vuatela camp and our camp, the DRC in Ingers. Where within a couple hundred meters we have lion, elephant and buffalo. Just in case he pops out, I'm just going to have a quick squiz around the corner. Look at this. This is quite serious for this time of the year. 2 impala rams fighting. They just keep moving around the bush. Oh, there we go, you can hear that. Where are you guys going? Where are you guys going? See if I can just get into a slightly better position. Oh, there we go. Behind the next bush. So these look like quite young males, and I think this probably started off as a sort of friendly sparring match, and it's escalated. So if you're wondering what that click 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 is, it's me taking a few photos, and I really hope you guys do the same and get some screen grabs, post them on the Safari Live Facebook page, or pop them on Twitter and use the hashtag Safari Live. Yo! It's unusual to see them fighting this strongly this time of the year. Oh, almost looks like they got locked there for a second. And maybe this noise of these impala rams fighting will bring that leopard, because they are very distracted when they fight. And it is a perfect time for predators to take advantage. Let's move again. They're moving quite far away from us as they spar. Try to keep the camera there. Copy, thanks. I'll be making my way on Sandy Patch. to be on the game for us. Oh, there we go, and we have a winner. And he's certainly pushing home his advantage. They might come back across here. Wow, look at them go. And disappeared. Okay, sorry, I just need to let everybody know where those leopard tracks crossed. I'm just going to go back through here because the noise like that and those tracks were very...
I'm hearing the Shangaan bird called veve. In English, the lilac-breasted roller. And the reason that I've stopped to try and find it is that they do the most astonishing time of year. Can you see it? Okay.
I don't see it.
It'll be an odd time of the day for if he does do it, he'll make a tremendous before he does it. So we'll quickly switch the camera back. So, as I was saying, we're talking quite, easily. We're not kind of sneaking about the place in expectation. What to do is be careful all the time, looking under the bushes, making sure that you're not just sort of, that you're actually looking under everything. There's a stitch left, down for track, and behind you all the time. And you keep towards Buffelshoek Dam and hopefully see you there.
So we're making our way back towards those lines and see what else is there. Around Djuma waterhole. Spot to be aligned, lots of people around. As I said, some of that lioness will look it was just down here where we had close to us now for a few hours, etc., etc. Did not work. And Singita. rocky and hilly. Now, David, that's the problem with saying Singita is there's with it was in Zimbabwe, quite far from here. If it was a Nakia one, on the Lions, that was at Singita Lubombo, which is probably about 70-80 kilometers as the crow flies from here. But very different flat basalt plains, and the Lubombo Mountains rising up out of that plain. So let's go back to the Lions. There comes the arbor. Let's cross them two bottles of. Okay. Cheers. So welcome back everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. There was a problem at the London server or satellite far beyond my comprehension. I'm just here to chat about lions. So we're back with the Nkuhuma Pride. As you can see, they have not moved an inch. I haven't heard any more word on the leopard we were tracking a little bit earlier, but the lions are very flat. And as you can see, we were able to still show you pictures of them while we didn't have sound, so we sat here patiently, but not too much happening here. So we are hoping that they will move before the end of the safari, and we'll be able to hopefully see them either go for a drink or maybe possibly try some hunting. Oh, there we go, a little bit of movement. Move forward a little bit, see if we can have a look at a different angle. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to the radio. Oh, it sounds like that leopard we were tracking has been found to the north of our boundary. Unfortunately, not too far, probably about 100 meters in. So we were fresh on those tracks. Unfortunately, we're just a little bit late behind them. There's a few little bits of movement and stretching that are happening, and not enough yet, I think, to sort of warrant some excitement that they might decide to arise from their slumber. So lots of flies around at the moment in this humidity. So you can see these lions are very, very comfortable at the moment. Lynn's wondering, do they have a sense of where they are compared to where the other lions in the area might be? Most definitely, Lynn. And they do this with scent marks, so they'll be able to smell, and also very importantly from hearing. A lot of roaring is all territorial, just signifying that this is their area. At the moment you find these guys are not making too much noise, so they're trying to hide from the Birmingham males. But this is core Nkuhuma territory where we are now, and seeing the Tsalala Pride up here has been unusual, and it's possibly because they've been away from this area for quite some time because of the Birminghams, that we've had a bit of rain, that when the Tsalalas came up here they couldn't smell any other lions, so they thought this might not be an occupied area. But it seems that now we had both of them very close to each other yesterday, and the Tsalalas immediately bolted back down to the south. Very lazy kitties. So So as you notice, we've got quite a few adults and one sub-adult lioness. The sub-adult lioness is that one lying there. So Barbara's wondering why there aren't any cubs. Well, Barbara, at the moment we're busy with a sort of male lion takeover. So the older males have been pushed out. They're new males who these guys haven't accepted fully yet, and they're not mating. So without mating, you can't have cubs. And if they'd had any cubs to the old males, they would have immediately been killed by the new males, so the new males could get their genetics going in. Although very interestingly, when that does happen, the females will go into a false estrus first, and that is to sort of placate the new males, but also not producing offspring from them till about 3 months after they've been in charge, and that's to make sure that those cubs will have a chance of success, because if they keep mating and producing cubs with every male lion coalition that comes through, they would lose a lot of their cubs. To infanticide, which is very common in the animal world, male lions will kill unrelated males' cubs, and that immediately brings the female into estrus again within a couple of days, and then they can mate with it. Or estrus or false estrus, the males can't tell the difference. Not being very entertaining lions, but this is the reality about lions in the bush. And often in those 1 hour documentaries, the reality is of 8 months to a year's worth of filmings packed into 45 minutes. And working on a documentary in Botswana a few years ago, we spent our record literally sitting next to lions like this. It was just over 3 days. People would bring us food, and when we needed to go to the toilet, we would just drive about a few 100 meters away, or not even, and then we'd drive in. One person would stay awake in case something happened, like nearly happened this afternoon, and an animal just bumps into them, and the other would snooze. But we did a lot of reading of books during that time while waiting for those lions to do something, and a lot of snoozing in the back of a Land Cruiser. But being patient with lions is the best way to really get those incredible sightings, to see them hunt, to see them catch something, to see them fight. Sometimes you do get lucky, but most of the times when you see that stuff is you've had the patience to wait with them till it happens. Also, reading the animal's behavior is quite important. So I knew we could rush off and go chase the chance of a leopard, and being pretty safe that these lions wouldn't have moved an inch. And they hadn't. So while the lions are all flat like this, it is pretty much impossible for me to tell which is the injured lioness, and Sarah, Sandy and Elizabeth are wondering which one. We'll have to wait till they get moving to see which one it is, and they will know, is she going to be okay. More than likely it looks like just a muscle injury. She probably got kicked by the giraffe they killed last week. These animals do have an amazing resilience and ability to come back from injuries in a relatively short time. Temperature's dropping a little bit, but we can still feel that humidity in the air. Still hear some Timberti seeds popping, and there's little grey moths inside them, or the moth larvae, or the little ground stretch. A few little leg stretches going. A bit of a wind picking up now. But I will say these lions still look very content and not about to move anytime too soon. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go do another loop. We won't go too far. Let's go see if we can see what else is on quarantine, and then we'll come back in probably 10 or so minutes, and maybe there'll be a little bit more activity here. And I'm not seeing the sort of traditional signs of them about to be moving quickly, sort of stretching and mutual grooming. Oh, look at that stretch there. That's the second time. But then head flop again. So, guys who are watching the Djuma cam, you can keep an eye on it for me. They might pop out heading towards the water. There were wildebeest, zebra and buffalo all very close to them. So it is likely they might head off for a drink, so do please keep your eye on the Djuma Dam while we do our loop around here, see if we can spot anything else interesting before heading back to those lazy kitties. There are a lot of parasites out here in the bush. Ticks, mites, fleas, and Judith. Hi Judith, from North Carolina. Wondering, do the lions ever get infected with all of these to a degree that it might kill them? It is possible, it is unlikely, and generally there'll be something else wrong. It could be from bad injury or whatnot, and the infestation of parasites gets even more. But generally not. They can survive quite happily with a few thousand ticks on them. So we're just having a look. Those buffalo moved off that way. I just wanted to see if we could see where they were, or where they are, sorry, or where they went, and see if the lions might possibly move that way. And of course I'm always happy to spend a bit more time with my new friend, that big bull Ellie, who's been... we're going to go across to James very quickly, who's got a reptile.
We have just stumbled across a little blind snake. Now, I'm not particularly familiar with the species, even which the front end is. I think it's this end here, and you can see it's a blind, completely blind animal. It's a snake. It looks like an earthworm but isn't, and I suspect the fact that it is, sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Here's the front end here. Now what it's got here, if you look carefully, is that it's got a kind of digging mechanism. It will try and get into the sand to get away from us, and I suspect what you'll also see is that it looks almost like it's got a head at each end, and that's probably for defense, probably to try and detract or confuse predators as to where it's looking and what it's doing. Anchoring the tail into the sand there, unless it's actually digging with the tail. Fascinating. I've never seen one. I've only seen them in books before. I just want to see if we can't... I know it's not ideal to pick them up, but because he's here, I don't think it's a major train smash, just so that we can get a better look at his head. Amazing. I think what they will do is burrow down, hide under the sand, and they'll hunt for little, probably invertebrates mainly, maybe the odd maybe the odd small reptile.
So the head is this?
I think this is the head here. See if you can get, yeah, it is definitely. This one is anchoring it in the soil there. And the head here is definitely looking up, and you can see it lifting. And its mouth is covered in sand. It's been hunting something. Look at that. There you go. No. Now, I am going to pick it up because I don't want to leave it on the road here. If somebody comes past here during the course of the night, they will definitely run it over. So while we're picking it up, you can have a look at it. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Unbelievable little animal. Little blind snake. Okay, let's put him over here. I'm not going to put him on a tree. Oh, he's actually hanging there now. Very nicely. So we'll let him climb off if he wants to. Just astonishing. Look at the incredible musculature, how that skeleton must be moving. Inside this tiny little body is a backbone. There are a whole lot of ribs, thousands, well not thousands, but probably hundreds of ribs all the way along. And I can actually see his little face there. I think he is probably a little bit stressed now. So let's put him there. Now you can't keep my stick. Give it back. All right, I'll give it to you. There you are, you can have it. Like my stick he did. Isn't that beautiful? Just stunning. I must say, being on foot like this, you know, we're used to seeing all the big mammals, and we learn a huge amount about the big mammals, both from observation and from books. And we learn a few things about the little things, but you can't learn everything about everything, of course. So trees are pretty easy around here. And then you find a snake like this, and it's just so fascinating because I don't know much about its biology at all. I know it's a blind snake, but I mean, I've never spent any time looking at them like we are now. It's tying itself in a bit of a knot there. And so just to observe the way it moves and the incredible strength that it has to hold itself up and actually almost pull the stick away from me is amazing. Now, probably shamming death, so it's not, as soon as we move, it moves. But they will sham death. Lots of snakes sham death. I'm not sure if these ones do particularly, but they do that to escape predation. And you see how it goes backwards and forwards. It's absolutely amazing. Wow. And Nancy, I'm absolutely sure that it doesn't have a head on each end. Unlike the push me pull you in Dr. Doolittle, snakes don't have heads on each end of their body.
So we found that herd of wildebeest again. They're probably 300 or so meters from those sleeping kitty cats and slowly mobile back towards them, but I don't think they're going to get all the way down there. There's the bull at the back. Move forward a bit. So they're moving out onto this open area to probably spend the rest of the night. It's a really nice safe area for animals, and there's very little chance of a lion sneaking up on you in this massive open area. So the wildies there, we're going to keep on moving around. We don't want to spend too much time away from the lions as it gets cooler and darkness is about to set. It'll be really awesome to see them maneuvering. I mean, we're just going to show you how much game moves onto the quarantine clearings as it gets dark. So we've probably got, oh, actually let's have a look at those wildies using their pre-orbital glands there. Having a roll and a scent mark. Very nice little dust bath. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, you see that wildebeest using its pre-orbital glands, the bull. So apart from having a good scratch, he's actually scent marking his territory upon that terminator. Oh, there we go. See the other one putting his head right in the ground. I found a nice sandy spot for a roll. Oh, there we go, another one. Having a good scratch on that silver cluster leaf. Oh, all the wildies really like this spot. Tree to scratch on, sand to roll in. And there comes a male, and you can see how he's more focused on that little spot just behind his, just below his eye. And those are those pre-orbital glands. Oh, that looks fun. So we're going to keep on showing you how many animals are just spread all over quarantine. And while we do that, Abby, wondering where did all these wildebeest come from? Well, a lot of these animals will have seasonal migrations. They'll move between good grazing and bad grazing. And during the day, they'll spread out through the bush. So that's why at night they tend to congregate on quarantine, but not all the time. So this herd probably has a home range that it wanders through that includes parts of Djuma, but not other parts. And while we meander and see what else is on quarantine, Chris from Appleton said when she was a child, her favorite animal was a black panther. And she said she watches all sorts of wildlife documentaries and has watched our show religiously and has not heard or seen a black panther. Well, Chris, a black panther is not a real thing, I'm afraid. It is a menelistic form of a leopard or a jaguar, is what is often referred to as black panther. What a menelistic form is, it is a leopard where it produces an overstimulus of the color. I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. The color genetic, the melanin color. So it becomes black. It still has rosettes, but it is very, very dark. There are a few areas in Africa where they are seen from time to time. One is not too far from here, probably over 120, 130 k's. We got some impala on the left chat. We're seeing what else is on quarantine. The impala is also moving out to the open area before it gets dark. And another area where menelistic leopards are quite common is in well, not quite common, I mean they're never common anywhere, is in the Central African rainforests, where actually being dark would be a very big advantage, since very little sun filters through there. I know quite well. I did spend a year living in a rainforest in Gabon, on the equator in Central Africa, between Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Central African Republic, and the Congo. So here we go. This is probably the area where all the wildebeest are going to bed down for the night. Nice and open, good visuals, difficult for a predator to sneak up on them. And then I know historically certain forests in India were also famous for menelistic leopards or black panthers, and that's where Rudyard Kipling's inspiration for Bagheera from the Jungle Book comes from. He is a menelistic leopard. So let's go see if those lions have decided to move. So our timing is perfect. The lions have just appeared out of the thicket they've been resting in. And I'm just going to move around so we can get a good view of them. They might come for a drink. They're looking at something. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I'm going to keep my lights off because it looks like they're stalking something, so I don't want to give away their position. Let's try to figure out what they've seen. I can't see what they've seen. Something in this area here. There's one lioness up on the down wall, just behind that tree. We're trying to figure out what's going on, what they might have spotted in that area. I just need to update the game drives quickly. See that lioness up here is showing interest in something. I'm trying to see if I can see any movement in the bush up ahead. Stations in Nkuhuma and up in mobile on the Gari Dam wall. I wonder what's there. And quickly, before these lions move off and start hunting seriously and we have to follow, we had a very cute question from Isabella, who's 4 years old, definitely one of our youngest safari viewers, and we were looking at the wildebeest on quarantine, and she wanted to know, are those beasties dangerous? Because they sure scare her. No, Isabella, they're completely harmless, not dangerous at all, just a little bit funny looking. So whatever she spotted distracted her from going to get a drink. Just trying to figure out what's going on. So we're going to sit quietly, listen, keep our eyes open. There could be some buffalo bulls around. Well, she's not moving. I'm going to take the opportunity to move. And just try to get a head up onto the other side where we can see a bit better, because if they do go in the dark, we want to be as close as possible to have our ears right there. We don't put lights on hunting animals. It gives their position away. Same as we don't put lights on whatever they're hunting, because it'll actually make it easier for the lions to catch them. So we're here to observe. You're holding on, Brian. This is not, with all the buffalo, elephant and whatnot when this dam was drying up, a very bumpy crossing. Lioness is the only one standing up at the moment. The rest are lying down on the down wall behind her. She's going to have a quick squiz up around here to see what she might have possibly spotted. And also, following animals hunting, and particularly lions, what you can do, how much light you can use and all that, can be very, very varied depending on what type of animal they're hunting. It sounds very strange, but a big herd of buffalo, they'll use quite often a tactic that they'll just charge at the buffalo, let the buffalo see them, panic the buffalo. But if it's something like an nyala or hada or zebra or wildebeest, they will try stalk it and then pounce rather than harass it into making a mistake. Can't see anything here. There's something around the corner there. There's Impala. So she's not looking there, she's looking in this area where we are now. Maybe she just heard something or smelt something. Because we're not seeing anything. I don't think an impala at that distance would warrant that amount of interest. So, as I said, the lions are lying down on the dam wall, except for one lioness who we've been trying to see what she's looking at. I think it's time to get ourselves an unusual angle on a lion. So definitely not an angle we get with lions too often, is being below them. Let's see if we can get a view of them from here. That lioness is now heading back towards the others, given up on whatever she might have spotted. There you go, you can see her up there. lions, quite often movement will be up for 20 minutes, down for 20 minutes. And it looks like they're down again. Again, still a nice unusual angle on these lions. Try to wedge the spotlight in so I don't get covered in bugs. Oh, yawn. So they didn't move very far, probably about 50 meters before the next nap. See them lifting their heads like that, testing the wind, seeing what they can smell. There comes another yawn. So we've got another question from the young Isabella. Do lions like to play with birds? Very seldom. I have seen them chase some birds, Isabella, but your cat likes to play with birds because it's small. A lion's very big, so instead of playing with birds, it likes to play with buffalo and wildebeest and other things that it can eat. Oh, I think we might be heading off for a drink. Hello, Amber. She does seem to love giving us that funny look when she's close to the vehicle. Now, is she going to head for a drink, or is she going to have a nap over here? Nope. Pit stop. Oh, bless you. Just check what's behind her out in the clearing. Doesn't look like anything. Well, I think she might be heading off to have a drink, so I think we're going to stick with the amber eyes. I've had so many wonderful sightings with Nkuhumas, but the first really memorable one for me, it wasn't long after I started, when both Scott and I were here, while they attempted and failed quite dismally to hunt buffalo with the two Matimba males. Next ablution. So as I said, they hunted very unsuccessfully, but it was an amazing sighting seeing them chase big buffalo bulls out in the open. Then the buffalo turned around and chased them as well. And after quite an exciting little bit, the only thing that they could manage to catch was a tortoise. And one of the lionesses ate a tortoise. Checking around before heading to the water. Maybe she's not that thirsty. The water's directly in front of me. She's having a sniff around. I think she spotted those impala. I'm just going to take the light off her for a sec, Brian. See if we can get below her again. As the others come to join her here on this old termite mound. See the light fading to the west behind her. And William, who's a new viewer from, Brendan, a new viewer from Johannesburg, is saying, what happens to the lion's territory when there's fire? Surely the animals move off. A lot of animals will, but a lot of animals will also stay, because fire generally means there's going to be nice, fresh growth coming from after that fire. So it doesn't really affect that. The lions will move with the animals, and generally their home ranges are large enough to accommodate for things like that. So I hope you guys are getting some awesome screenshots. Looks like they're going to go drink, so let's get into the right spot. Another that's coming now. Oh, we're gonna play. There we go. Aubrey. Aubrey, I'm only stationed here. Make your way. They are busy. Puzamati at the waterhole in front of Gallagher. In front of Rotella. It looks like the lions timed their drink better than the Ellie bull. There's fresh water coming out, so they're getting nice clean water out of the pipe. Sorry guys, just trying to keep the bugs off me. Oh, isn't that awesome? girls. Not that thirsty though. Isn't this special? I had some incredible encounters today. Here's the young sub-adults coming to join. Oh, flop. Next door. Comes a fourth lioness is coming out of the dark now as well. Looks like she's going to go drink the muddy. She's going to go drink the muddy water. Lions aren't too particular. How's that, Brian, there? Oh, bless you. So, one of these lionesses is carrying a bit of an injury. And there she is. See how that back bed's stiff, and look how much better she is already. So I think, as I said, these animals have an incredible capacity for healing, and very fast healing. I'll just double check. I can only see 4 of them at the moment. I don't need both. But I haven't seen any major limps. All of them seem to be a bit like the mud, and they slip on the rocks a little bit. But I would say that lioness we just saw finish drinking and move off looked to be the one who was carrying the injury, and she looks to be walking fine already. There's one lioness still lying right next to us here. And I'm going to go to the right one, show you one of the other lionesses. She's a little bit behind us. Over there. Hasn't come to drink yet. I think the prettiest is going to be the one lying next to the water close to us here. There we go. So they're all listening, smelling. And as you can see, lions do tend to do quite a lot of lying about. And of that 4 hours of movement that they do as I said, that 4 hours is definitely not 4 hours of solid movement. It'll be broken up into little 20-minute, half an hour stints. Looking back towards where the other lioness is lying. She still hasn't moved though. And the other's lying just in front of us. And a little bit of a groom cleaning herself. So we've seen that wonderful Eddie bull spend a lot of time sucking on that water pipe to try and get the nice fresh water, and Susie said this should be a cue for him to come rushing off and chase off the lions. Wouldn't that be fantastic, Susie? One lioness still to come. I think let's move a little bit so we can get a better view. She's still lying there. Let's go look what the rest of the flight are up to. I'm going to get nice and below them here. Oh, isn't that sweet? Alright, Brian about the angle, but it's so nice to be below lions. Oh, it looks like I was wrong. That lioness with the limp is still coming from the back. Definitely not as pronounced as it was yesterday. I'm sure she will move towards us shortly. There she is, just stopping for a drink. I'm sure she'll come and join the rest of the fight shortly. There you go. When I did see her moving towards us, her belly does look quite full, so she got a definite share of whatever was caught yesterday. Oh, those teeth. That's Madame Amber Eyes. Oh, isn't she just exquisite? Knows how to work a camera as well. On the subject of lions, there are quite a few different extinct species of lions that used to be around, and Mike has just let me know that there's been a recent discovery of 2 cave lions by Russian scientists which were frozen in the Siberian tundra and from over 10,000 years ago, and there were quite a few different cave lion species that were around. And that particular cave lion that they found in Russia appeared around 300,000 years ago and died out at the end of the last glacial phase about 10,000 years ago. A part of the secondary extinction of the Pleistocene fauna die out. So mammoths, cave lions, all those type of things died out then. Cave bears as well. Amazing how peaceful these animals look. They have that huge latent energy that can be unreleased at any time. You just have to see them walk and see those muscles ripple. Nice bit of preening going on. Very important to keep a little bit clean and deal with that. Obviously, lions eat some incredibly rotten things. Wind's picking up, which should be quite good for hunting. The clouds covering the moonlight, so they'll like windy, dark nights for hunting. Gives them a much better chance at success. And even then, a lion's success rate is not the best in the world. Around between 12 and 15%. It's only sort of every 1.5 times out of 10 do they actually catch something. Well, I hope you guys are getting some incredible screenshots. Don't forget to share them. There we go. A little bit of playing, very important, this sort of playing and greeting in terms of the social structure of the pride, keeping those pride bonds tight. You can just see that light glinting off her eyes, isn't that spectacular? See where the rest of those lines are off to. Looks like they've gone back to around the waterhole, so we shall do the same. We can hear a guttural toad calling next to the lions. You can hear that toad quite distinctly, and there we go, having a lion silhouette. Isn't that beautiful? So Aubrey's also here looking at the lions, so utilizing his light. Sorry, I apologize, it's not a guttural toad, it sounds like an eastern olive toad. Oh, look at that, isn't that really, really pretty, with Aubrey's light coming from behind her. That frog is incredibly loud. So it has been quite a spectacular sunset safari. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find that leopard we went racing off to try in search of, but all within about 150 meters of each other. We've had lions, we've had elephant, we've had buffalo. And we have an eastern olive toad making an incredible racket just in front of the vehicle. But so nice to see the Nkuhuma pride with big full bellies, even though that one female is still carrying a limp. she should be fine. And especially that's one of the advantages of being part of a social pride, is that the other members of the pride can help look after you. And it doesn't look like they're going to be moving anywhere too quickly. And there's a bit of stretching, but we are getting quite close to the end of the safari. But you guys are going to be able to keep watching them for a while on the dam cam. This is going to be funny. Up and down, up and down. Well, Tina, I agree with you. Tina says we are so lucky to be around lions. It would be her ultimate life dream to be around lions. Well, mine too, Tina, and I'm very fortunate to say that I get to live my dream. So thanks again to everyone for joining us. Thanks for your questions. A very special day today. It's Brian Joubert's 1-year anniversary with the Safari Live crew. So congratulations, Brian. And to everyone else, don't forget to watch us on the Sunrise Safari to see if we can find the Nkuhumas again. So we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.